What's up guys, it's Premods here, back at y'all with a new YouTube video, and today we're going to be looking at the Verges PC build in 3, 2, 1.
But it's kind of out of date, and it's definitely not going to hold up for Battlefield 5. So let's build a new one. You can build a gaming desktop for around $1,000, but I want to go all out, so I spent around $2,000. PC
You didn't really go all out if you're spending 2,000. Yeah.
like this is going to be able to play most games at ultra settings. So what do you
Should
need to
be
build
able to
a
play
desktop?
all games
well,
at
of
ultra
course,
settings.
first you need a table. Preferably not
No,
metal.
really?
If it's going to be metal, have an anti-static working surface layered on top of it.
No,
a thermal
not
paste
true.
applicator, an Allen wrench, some tweezers to tighten up the wires, a Swiss Army knife which hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver in it.
Okay, unless you need that Swiss Army knife to stab yourself for watching this video, you don't need the Swiss Army knife. I think he meant to say zip ties, not, tweezers. And an Allen wrench. I've never had to use an Allen wrench while building a PC. And his CPU cooler already has thermal paste, so he doesn't need a thermal paste applicator.
And last but not least, an anti-static bracelet, which is
Don't
to
need
protect
that to
you
build a
and
PC.
the parts. These are the parts you're going to need, but more importantly, before we get there, we need to understand what these parts are doing and how they interact with one another.
I'm gonna skip ahead, cause he makes no sense during this part. Well, he does make sense, kinda, but there's no need to watch it.
Box them, isolate the parts that you really need, place items into the case, and make sure that they all fit, and then start working. And now we're really
Why
going to
is
start
he
building
putting
by adding the
power
motherboard in.
supply in?
Some notes about installing
first?
motherboards, they're
Why
really
did he
delicate.
take it
You should
out?
be really careful with them.
He clearly took the power supply out of the case.
And screw in with confidence, but also don't screw in too hard, otherwise you could crack the board.
Screw in with your wrist, don't use your arm, use your wrist. That's what he's trying to say. I'm pretty sure, at least.
I chose Asus's Z370 motherboard for two main reasons. One, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and also it has support for NVMe SSDs, meaning you can get really fast SSDs that are really easy to install. Pay close attention.
Okay. Why would he put the motherboard in the case first? Why not put the RAM and everything in the motherboard before you put it in the case?
Into the brace that goes at the back of the computer. You always have to make sure
Put the brace in the back of the computer? No, it's not a brace. It's an I/O shield.
that you really hammer it in, because there's no screw. It
You don't need to hammer it in, even though he's using his hands and not a hammer. Never hammer anything into a computer.
really just has to go outside of the case and clasp onto the frame. And this is very important because otherwise you can't align the motherboard correctly with the holes. We're just going to start installing all 8 screws. So next we're going to install the RAM on the motherboard. I chose Corsair's 16GB Vengeance LED
See, you should have put the RAM in on the motherboard's box with the motherboard, but no, it's the Verge. They make no sense.
RAM for two main reasons. One, it has LEDs and we do like lights in our gaming desktops. Secondly, it's pretty fast RAM. It's 2666 megahertz, I believe, so it's pretty fast, and this motherboard supports that speed, which is most important. Open the slots first, and just aligning the stick with the middle of the strip, not with the end, and just lining that up.
Don't listen to the Verge at all on PC building. They don't even read the guides and stuff on the motherboard. If you're only using 2 sticks on a 4-stick board, never put them side by side. Never. Always read your motherboard manual on where to put them.
Up with the logo. So once you hear that solid clasp and you don't see the gold connectors on the side anymore, that's when you know the RAM is in. Step 3, we're going to install the hard drive, or in this case, the NVMe SSD. I chose this format of solid state drive so that I could input it into the motherboard without having to worry about extra wires or...
He's not really doing anything that bad on this part, in my opinion.
This is from Kingston, and it's 480 gigabytes, so it's not a lot, but you can always upgrade this and swap it out, and it's only held down by one screw and the latch, so it's really simple and really straightforward. Speed for gaming is important when it comes to a hard drive. You want files to write quickly and you want games to load quickly, so that's why it's best if you use an SSD. Okay, so step 4, we're going to install the graphics card. I chose PNY's GTX 1080, which is overclocked.
You mean overclockable? And you see how he's holding the slots for it right here? No, don't ever do that. I'm cringing while watching this.
And so it's a pretty easy installation. You're just going to find the gold connectors, and you're going to line this bracket with the back end bracket of your PC case. Now, which lane you choose depends entirely on what other parts you're going to put in the system. I'm just going to pick the top one because the SSD is at the bottom and I don't want to cover it. I just think it looks nice. Click down.
Don't listen to his guidance on where you should put it. Just put it, I'd say, at the bottom first, in my opinion.
Take your remaining brackets and just put them in the spots that you haven't used. You don't have to screw these in. They get bolted down by the back end bracket. And your GPU is installed. Power supply time. I chose Corsair's 850 watt power supply because I need enough headroom for ray tracing
Too much
GPUs
power,
when they come
maybe?
out, and I don't want to have to upgrade it again. So all you have to do is take the brick and make sure that you align it with these little insulating pads so that the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system.
We are going to short circuit the rest of the system. Did you hear it from this man? A brand new power supply going to short circuit your new PC. It's going to ruin it. What a freaking genius. I'm glad I watched this before building my first computer, or I would have short circuited everything in it.
So just take it in, slide it in nice and easy
Genius.
until you have a snug fit, and then shift it to the back and make sure it's right up against the frame. Now you just take the required screws and you tighten and screw in. So next step, we're going to install the CPU cooler. In this case, it's going to go on the top end of the case, and we're just going to have the hose hang out for a little while until we install the processor, which is going to come a little later. Always be sure to try to place it in the system first before you install it, because you can see it takes up a lot of space. But in this case, no pun intended, it fits in perfectly, and we're going to start
Best pun ever, in my opinion.
screwing it in. And so there's nothing special about this screwing in process. They're just really long screws because they go through the entire frame of the cooler, and they take
Or
forever.
you're maybe just using the wrong screws.
So
Just
next up,
saying.
cables. Every power supply is going to come with a big bag of Velcro cables. It's kind of daunting.
No, 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 no. How many things are you going to get wrong in this video? Every power supply does not come with a bag of cables. This is for a modular power supply. Modular power supplies come with cables.
At first, so you always have to find the ones that are going to fit. In this case, you need to match those cables with the correct descriptions on the power supply. Next step is we're connecting the power supply to the motherboard with a 24-pin cable. We're just
Oh yeah, we're
matching that
getting
cable
in
from the
this
motherboard,
PC
threading it
build.
through the back,
Getting
and
in that
attaching
good
the
cable
24-pin
management.
header to the power supply so that we can have one of the connections complete. The next few additions will be for the
Why
GPU.
would you put power to the motherboard before you even put the processor cooler on?
For any specific ports that the case has, for any lighting that the case has, the CPU cooler, anything else really. We're installing the CPU, the heart of the computer or the brain, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
So to do this, we're just going to remove the plastic covering that they put on the motherboard. We're just going to take this little plastic part out. Just toss that out of here. And now
He
we have
tossed
an
it out of here. What a
exposed
savage,
CPU
dude.
holder, or rather slot, on the motherboard. And we're going to use the CPU applicator. This is a special little part that not everyone may get, but this
Dang.
motherboard that we got from ASUS definitely does have.
I've never ever heard of him, but man, this man has one. What a surprise.
It's called a CPU installation tool. It makes it really useful if you want to install a Core i7 hexa-core CPU. Yeah, we've got one.
Nuh-uh. He has a Core i7X. Wow. mind blown. Silly goose me.
It's an 8th generation chip, and it's ready to go, and it supports overclocking. So what having this little installer does for you is it's basically a brace that you can apply right
Another
to the
brace?
CPU
Oh my
and
goodness.
light it up with the triangles that you'll see on the bottom left corners. And this will make it easier for us to apply it to the motherboard, and then apply thermal paste, and then apply a CPU cooler on top. And we're just gonna
It makes it so much easier, in my opinion. It's just make it so much easier. So much easier.
carefully lean it down into the system and make sure that everything lines up, and we're going to clasp down on it and we'll be good to go. So we're about to apply thermal paste to the CPU. Every CPU cooler actually comes with a bit of thermal paste already neatly applied in a circle around it, but it's usually not enough. It's good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU.
Why are you playing connect the dots on your CPU, buddy? It's not gonna form the right seal at all. There's gonna be air all in it. What do you... I'm 14 and I know what I'm doing better than you do. What are you doing with your life?
The final portion is to add the CPU cooler to the top end of the processor. So you're gonna see that.
But before I even say anything about how he's putting it on, look at this great cable management.
There are 4 brackets, or rather
A1.
like screws in here with brackets and holders right here.
Do you see that? That coolant? Why? No, I'm cringing.
And they're going to keep the cooler raised off the processor, but it's also going to be close enough to actually physically come in contact with it, like basically keep it cool. Take thumb screws.
Great cable management, as you can see right there.
Like this, and just screw them on. So now that our internals are done, we're going to put all the panels back on, which is the top glass, side glass, front glass, and of course the back panel where all
Battlefield
this
5 ready PC.
So we fully built
all
the PC.
Out.
Everything's put together.
Just like I was just saying. Let me
so
pause
we fully
it.
built the.
Do you see that? That is A1 cable management. I've never seen cable management so good in my life, where cables are touching the GPU. Great cable management, in my opinion.
The PC, everything's put together, and we got to the post screen. So what's next? Well, you need a USB flash drive with your Windows installation media on it, and of course a license key. So I plugged that up, installed Windows in a couple.
He got something right for once.
Minutes, installed a bunch of drivers.
And you're not gonna install it in a couple of minutes. It takes around half an hour to a full hour, in my opinion.
And now we have a fully functioning gaming PC ready to run some games. Right now I've got Armor 3 running at maximum settings, resolution, which is
this man got maximum settings,
and it's running pretty smoothly. Like,
dang.
I'm averaging 70 and 80 FPS, and this is normally like a very intensive game to run.
No, it is
and
not.
it's still doing a pretty good job.
Look at it. Looks like Roblox.
So right now I'm playing League of Legends. It's one of my favorite games. I'm actually playing
League
against a
of
bot,
Legends.
and I'm distracted.
This guy's benchmarking on League of Legends. Don't even get me started on these glasses. These are like some old man glasses you picked up from the dollar store, it looks like. But League of Legends, one of the easiest games to run on a PC. This man is benchmarking on. What do you should get fired for this video.
So I'm not actually doing so well. But otherwise, like, this is pretty much what you would see me.
Look at that FPS, 120. Oh my goodness. And he has it capped. He has it capped at that. Cause he's getting around 1 million frames per second on League of Legends.
You do on a gaming computer. Test stuff out, and hopefully have really high frame rates like I am right now.
This man.
I'm averaging 120 FPS, and that's only because I've actually locked the game.
So you're not averaging since you locked it. You're getting 120 FPS, not averaging it.
To that frame rate, because I can get around 300 FPS.
Or it's maybe because your monitor's not capable of doing 300 FPS. And What do I see here? I think I see 121 FPS, genius.
playing League on maximum settings, which is a little bit absurd,
See?
and you
What,
don't really
what are you
need that,
doing with
so
your
I've
life?
locked it. Building a gaming desktop has been a great experience. I'm able to max out a lot of my favorite titles, and I'll be
Okay, let's see where he went all out. I forgot to point something out.
all out, so I spent around 2,000. A PC like this is going to be able to play most games.
Let me make it go back a teeny bit.
All out,
Let's
so
look at
I spent
GPU.
around 2,000. PC like this is going to be able to
Why isn't it a TI, GeForce GTX 1080 Ti? If you're going all out, I would have got a TI if you're going all out.
play
Well,
most games. Of
let's
course, now we also have a computer to test and benchmark games
go.
with the Verge.
Verge, presented by Capital One. I can't believe they actually had a sponsor for this video, but that's really it for today, guys. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe on my video, and peace out.